welcome to NTV English News Bulletin. I'm Bhavana Casey. In the beginning, we have the headlines. Silence period comes into force. Parties and candidates barred from conducting any kind of election canvassing until polls close. Election Commission says preparations all over for Sunday's polls. Plans to make public results of first past the post election within 3 days. Large number of voters heading to their hometowns to cast ballots. International borders sealed for 72 hours for the polls. North Korea launches an intercontinental ballistic missile with sufficient range to hit the U.S. mainland. U.S. and South Korea condemn the launch. And Nepal and UAE locking horns in the last and decider match of the three-match ODI series. Nepal under pressure to clinch the title at home ground. Welcome back. Now we have the news in details. The silence period of the November 20 elections to the House of Representatives and Provincial Assembly has come into effect from midnight. The silence period is enforced 48 hours before the voting day until the polls are closed. Political parties and candidates will not be allowed to carry out any kind of campaigns or publicity activities from today, as the silence period has already come into effect. They are not even allowed to promote or campaign through social media, online or print media, while sale and consumption of alcohol has been banned till polls close. Election campaigning, as well as any type of discussion, interaction, assemblies, workshops, seminars and gatherings are not allowed during this period. The Code of Conduct stipulates that the Code of Conduct stipulates that the political party, office bearers, candidates, sister organization of the parties or related individuals have to abide by during the silence period. Likewise, the Code of Conduct states that the election publicity materials of the political parties or candidates kept 300 meters around the polling station should be removed 48 hours before the voting day. According to the Election Commission, voters can cast their ballots at the assigned polling centers from 7 a.m. till 5 p.m. on November the 20th, that is on Sunday. On the other side, the Election Commission had said all election-related preparations have been completed and the voters could cast their ballot this Sunday in a fearless manner. A total of over 200,000 staffs and 300,000 security personnel have reached their respective duty stations with election materials for the upcoming twin poll. At a press conference, the Commission appealed to the voters to exercise their franchise without being under the influence of anyone or without being fearful or intimidated. There are 2,412 candidates contesting for the House of Representatives member election under the first-past-the-post system, while 2,199 candidates vying under the proportional representation PR as per the closed list in the Commission. Likewise, 3,224 candidates are running for the election for the Provincial Assembly under the FPTP system, while 3,708 under PR. According to the Election Commission, the Election Code of Conduct has activated, the Election Commission meanwhile has activated monitoring mechanism and local labels in all 77 districts. All international borders of Nepal has been sealed since midnight for Sunday's elections. The borders of Nepal in Rasuwa, Parsa, Rupandehi and Kanchanpur have been sealed off for 72 hours prior to the election until poll closes to avert possible criminal activities. People have been prohibited to travel between the countries bordering regions from midnight. Security also have been beefed up along the Nepal-India and Nepal-China transits. In Banke, joint patrolling of the security forces of both the countries have been deployed to strengthen the security, according to the Chief District Officer of Banke, Surya Bahadur Khatri. Meanwhile, people are heading to their respective constituencies to cast their ballots for the Sunday's elections to the House of Representatives and Provincial Assembly. With elections just 2 days away, number of people going out of Kathmandu Valley to the districts has increased. Along with the increased number of passengers, the number of vehicles on the road has also gone up. Senior Superintendent of Kathmandu Valley Traffic Police Office Rajendra Prasad Bhatta, the traffic has increased a bit now. It is expected that the number of passengers going out for the election will increase further. Senior Vice President of the Federation of Nepal National Transport Entrepreneurs said there has been pressure in the flow of vehicles since the past few days. Transport entrepreneurs estimate that more than 500,000 people will travel during the elections. Well, with this update, time to go for a short break, but still to come we have. Welcome back now to more updates. North Korea has launched an intercontinental ballistic missile ICBM with sufficient range to hit the U.S. mainland, Japan's defense minister says. The missile landed in the sea roughly 210 kilometers west of Hokkaido. The U.S. has condemned the launch while South Korea has ordered stronger deterrence measures against the North. On Thursday, North Korean FM Klo Shunhui warned of fierce response to any increased U.S. military presence. Leaders of the 21-member Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Forum begin their annual summit meeting on Friday against a backdrop of the major global challenges. The war in Ukraine, great power rivalries, inflation, climate change and fending of the pandemic are among the issues they will be tackling in what will be their third back-to-back meeting in a week, this time at a heavily guarded venue in Thailand's capital, Bangkok. In opening remarks, Thai Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha said the region is still reeling under the impact of COVID-19 pandemic and that the situation has become even worse because of climate change. Meanwhile, Chinese President Xi Jinping met with the Philippines President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. in Bangkok on Thursday on the sidelines of the APEC summit. A statement by the Chinese Foreign Ministry said Xi underscored China's readiness to maintain regular communication and to accommodate its concerns amid prolonged territorial disputes. With this update, time to go for a short break, but still to come we have. Welcome back. Now to more updates. For a long time, scientists have been trying to unravel the tragic mystery of the whale strandings. After about 200 pilot whales beached on Tasmania's west coast last month, researchers from around the globe turned their attention to the event. And while the frantic rescue effort is now finished for marine experts, the work is just beginning. It's an absolute treasure trove for researchers who are still studying the marine life. When Ocean Beach on Tasmania's west coast was covered with more than 200 stranded pilot whales in September, it wasn't just rescue teams in a race against time. Every new bit of data is hoped to bring a light to these wildlife tragedies. NASA has released new views of its long-awaited Artemis first moon rocket launch. The spacecraft, with 3 test dummies aboard, launched on top of NASA's new moon rocket early on Wednesday. The Florida launch brings the U.S. a big step closer to putting astronauts back on the lunar surface for the first time since the end of the Apollo program. If all goes well, the crew capsule will be propelled into a wide orbit around the moon before returning to the Earth with a Pacific splashdown in 3 weeks. NASA hopes to send 4 astronauts around the moon on the next flight in 2024 and land humans there as early as 2025. Two more updates, but before that, let's have the highlights first. Now to sports. The third and final final match between UAE and Nepal under the three-match ODI series is underway. In the match being played at TU Cricket Ground in Kirtipur, UAE has so far scored 137 runs with loss of 9 wickets in 44 overs. Nepal and UAE have won one match each and are at level in the three-match series. In the first match played on Monday, Nepal was defeated by 84 runs. However, the host made a spectacular comeback with a 3-wicket win in the second match played on Wednesday. When the Qatar 2022 World Cup starts on Sunday, it will be the first World Cup in the Middle East. First World Cup kicking off in November, first modern edition based around a single city, first in an Arab country. Qatar, a conservative Muslim emirate that restricts alcohol, bans drugs and suppresses free speech, prepares to welcome possibly rowdy crowds for the first World Cup in the Middle East. World Cup organizers say everyone is welcomed during the tournament. Already foreigners outnumber citizens 10-1 in Qatar. Some Qataris are liberal and open to mixing with foreigners. Many are thrilled about the tournament, but human rights groups have raised concerns over how police will deal with foreign fans' violations of the Islamic laws criminalizing public drunkenness, sex outside of marriage and homosexuality. Qatar, a tiny Persian Gulf country that once was a dust-blown pearling port, transformed at almost warp speed into an ultra-modern hub following its 1990s natural gas boom. Experts, including Western consultants and engineers and low-paid South Asian construction workers and cleaners, poured into the country. A football fan from Serbia predicted a great month ahead. But even as Qatar, among the world's wealthiest countries per capita, looked to the West for inspiration, it faced pressure from within to stay true to its Islamic heritage and Bedouin roots. Qatar's most powerful clan originates from the Arabian Peninsula's landlocked interior, where the ultra-conservative form of Sunni Islam known as Wahhabism was born. Well, with this update, we come to the end of this English News Bulletin. But before we say goodbye, let's have a quick reminder of the major stories. Silence period comes into force. Parties and candidates barred from conducting any kind of election canvassing until polls close. The Election Commission says preparations all over for Sunday's polls, plans to make public results of the first past the post election within 3 days. Large number of voters heading to their hometowns to cast ballots. International borders sealed for 72 hours for the polls. North Korea launches an intercontinental ballistic missile with sufficient range to hit the U.S. mainland. U.S. and South Korea condemned the launch. And Nepal and UAE locking horns in the last and decider match of the three-match ODI series. Nepal under pressure to clinch the title at home ground. That's all we have in this edition of English News Bulletin. So I'll see you again with next round of English Bulletin at 6 in the evening. Till then, have a great time ahead and stay tuned with us. Namaste.